UFC 271 took place last weekend with Israel Adesanya successfully defending his middleweight crown against Robert Whittaker in a much-awaited grudge match. As usual, we're back to talk about it. Great Canadian Fight Show, episode 13. As usual, I'm half of your co-host, Alex DeSalles, reporting live from beautiful Calgary, Alberta, joined by my brilliant and handsome co-host, Kyle Allen, reporting live from Richmond, BC. How we doing tonight, my man?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Exciting. I feel like I always say the same thing. Another exciting weekend of fights. But I guess love was in the air yesterday and everything too. So that's one other thing. But yeah, we're doing good.
Love is in the air, indeed. Shout out to the girlfriends. Shout out to the wives. Not both in the same context. You know, we don't believe in that here on the show. We believe in true love and happy endings. So thus we digress. We move on to UFC 271. You know what, Kyle? I got to say, I went 5 for 5 on my picks last weekend. I should be in a phenomenal mood, but I'm upset because of controversy in the main. Let's talk about it. Once again, Israel Adesanya wins by unanimous decision against Robert Whittaker and successfully defends his middleweight crown, cements himself as a potential future GOAT of the sport. But he didn't do it without a little bit of controversy. Let me get your thoughts on the main event, and did it go how you thought it would?
I feel like it went the way I thought it would go. I thought the fight would be a lot closer than the last fight, and Whittaker did put up a very good challenge for Adesanya in this one. I think in the first round, early, I thought it was going to go the same way. He got dropped a little bit in the first round, and I thought it was going to be kind of end of the night for Whittaker again, but he stayed in it, and he definitely put it on in the later rounds. I don't really agree with people giving him the win. I don't think he won, even though I picked him. I don't think he won. But it was a solid fight, I think, and a tough test for Adesanya.
Why don't you give us your breakdown of the rounds and which rounds you had going to who in this fight?
So I had some people giving Whittaker like 2, 3, and 5, which I don't agree with. I feel like Adesanya won the first 3 rounds. Maybe they gave it to Whittaker because of his takedown, or his partial takedown in the second round. He kind of got him down for like half a second, then he got up. But I saw Adesanya taking him apart the rest of that round, and then winning round 3 again. It was more like a point fighting. He was basically point fighting him, and he won in points. And then I had Whittaker probably winning round 4 and 5.
Cue the alarm, baby, because we got ourselves a good old-fashioned robbery. Let's go. Come on now. Let me get that right to censor theme playing in the background. Kyle, man, I mean, I know you are brilliant, but I respectfully disagree with you on this one. I had Whittaker winning rounds 2, round 4, and round 5. Fairly obvious to me in this fight, but you know what? It's the fact that the UFC is becoming more and more like boxing, and dare I say it, it's looking a lot like a rig sport. I mean, here you are once again, 3 of the last 4 fights, with the commentators always kind of, giving biased reporting of the fight, giving razor thin rounds to the champion. Another 4-1 scorecard came up, which I thought was criminal. But again, I thought Robert Whittaker won this fight. It wasn't sexy. It was boring, as a lot of the Adesanya fights are, unfortunately. He got those takedowns that were so heavily weighted in the Ngannou fight. He got him. He landed more significant shots. I had a tough time with this one, Kyle. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. It seems like the UFC is propping him up a little bit, kind of making him a little bit of their poster boy, giving him a big contract, and
sure,
really trying to sell him. But also his fighting style, I feel like you always see it. These superstars later in their career, they start playing it a little bit safe, i.e. GSP, even what's his name? Anderson Silva. I feel like later in their later fights, they played it a little bit safe, and maybe that's what Adesanya is doing. He wants to have a legacy. He wants to keep taking down the middleweight division. So I still think he won, but I would like to see a little bit more. It's hard for him to take chances. I can understand being a champion. You wouldn't want to take so many chances, but you always want to see him fight like he did in his previous fights, like the Gastelum fight and the like Brunson fight early on. Like he took chances and got devastating finishes. But I understand being champion that you don't take the same chances, I guess.
Even more recently with the Costa fight. I mean, that was a strategy executed to perfection.
It's true.
I mean, hacking the legs on the bigger fighter and then waiting for your opportunity and landing that big shot to the temple to put him down. I mean, to me, he was counter striking, and he was looking a lot for that lunging back hook that he beat him with in the first fight. You saw him swing for that a lot, but Whitaker landed the big shots. I remember a moment. Gosh, I'm forgetting if it's round 4 or round 5, but Whitaker caught Adesanya with a big uppercut, and Adesanya told him, "Oh, you landed a big one there." I mean, I couldn't find a single moment in that fight where that happened to Whitaker. He was put down in the first round, but he shot right up. And gosh, that's the only round where you can give unanimously to Adesanya. So again, tough again. But let's talk about the commentators though. Michael Bisping stepping in, perhaps as a late replacement for Joe Rogan, which was noticeably missing or absent from ringside amongst the controversy. We're not going to get into that this episode, but let me know what your thoughts on this, because again, this was like if I was commentating on you being in there, like it just felt so biased. It was bad. I mean, let me get your thoughts on that, Kyle.
Yeah, I definitely thought, especially Bisping, like I get it. It was his first pay-per-view. Maybe he's what's the word, like a little stage fright, or maybe not stage fright, but like just a little pressure under the big lights, right? So I think he was just being a little biased. Like at one point during the fight, he was like in the 4th round, he was saying that Adesanya like obviously won every single round, which isn't true. And even DC had to like kind of cut him off and be like, "Oh no, but these rounds were like really close." And then he kind of you see him change his perspective after that. So that's the one thing I didn't like. I like it when it's Joe Rogan, DC, and John Anik, because I feel like they're all pretty level-headed. They don't really they're not too biased, I guess, towards the fighters, which is what you want in commentary. You don't want to be so biased towards one fighter. The one comparison it reminds me of is like, I don't know if you've ever watched like a US NHL commentary. I feel like they're extremely biased towards the US teams compared to like if you watch like a Canadian broadcast, they give the other teams props and stuff like that, but they just totally do not give any Canadian teams props.
But you see, that's a little bit different in my opinion, because you're tuning in to the home team's stream, like the home team's reporter. That's our guy, like
I guess so.
You have a choice. You can either, like, if the Canucks are playing against the Flames, you can watch the Canucks broadcast or you can watch the Flames broadcast, and you kind of know what you're getting. This is a UFC broadcast team. It's not Adesanya's boys.
We should get them next time though. Adesanya's boys on the commentary.
Adesanya's boys, featuring Adesanya's boys on commentary.
I'm gonna put my resume in for Adesanya boys. Maybe I can get on here.
Well, I already blew it. I know I'm not making the cut, but there's still a chance for you to get in there. Come on and infiltrate that layer so we get some inside scoop here on the Great Canadian Fight Show, Kyle. You can do it. You just got to work on your dance moves a little bit.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do.
But let's go back to the judging, though, because, again, I can't emphasize this more. This is now becoming a little bit insulting to the non-casual fan. I mean, how many more times can a random 4-1 scorecard show up in these razor-thin decisions? I mean, Kyle, like what's going on here, buddy? Like this is becoming ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't really. I think there's just too much politics and stuff with the athletic commissions in the different cities and stuff like that. It'd be nice if they could just do some sort of universal thing and just have universal judges and just pick the best judges that are out there, but it doesn't seem that way. And I think I've talked about it before, but I think more judges would be way better if they can have like 5 to 10 judges. I think you're going to get way less controversial decisions than you will, because then if you have one bad judge, then the other 9 will overrule them, and you won't have an issue.
Gosh, yeah, that'd be so ideal. I mean, at least 5. Again, we've spoken about this before. Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely one thing. I said live judging. Again, I think we're still years away from seeing that, but adding 2 additional judges, again, I mean, great suggestion. Perhaps we get a different decision on Saturday night. Like, but you know what kills me, and I want to get your opinion on this as well, is because I've been looking at some of the online reaction to this, in the good old comments section, which we love so much. I mean, only the finest minds appear in the comments section, right? I mean, the intellectual Elon Musks, I mean, they're all in there. But the thing that it triggered me a little bit, because it said the running theme seems to be Whitaker didn't do enough. He didn't go out there and beat the man. He didn't go out there and win it. But what did Adesanya do, in your opinion, to win it, to go out there and to take that title defense?
Yeah, I don't think you should ever count it as like you have to beat the man. It's a fight. You judge a fight as a fight. If it was a non-title fight, it wouldn't be like, oh, well, Whitaker needs to go out there and beat Cannonier, and win it. There should be no like advantage for being a champion, in my opinion. Like, you are the best. You should show
Right.
you're the best, and you should have to do as much as the other guy to try to win the fight. It shouldn't be any extra brownie points for being the champ. If you're the best, then you have to show you're the best.
Totally agree. I mean, look, 100-meter dash. You're in a race. There's a set amount of rules. You can't do this. You can't do that. First one of the finish wins. That's it. Crystal clear. The UFC judges are supposed to grade a fight, judge a fight based on a set criteria. All these people with their own opinions. Well, like, again, I hate to continuously throw Michael Bisping, because up until Saturday night, like, I actually really liked the guy. I thought he was really funny. But giving his personal opinions, in my opinion, all this stuff, like, I can't help but say that your opinion isn't worth shit. You're supposed to judge a fight based on the criteria, based on the activity, based on the damage, based on takedowns, which again seem to be weighted differently as from fight to fight. I mean, am I smoking something here, Kyle, or like am I being crazy, or like
Well, the smoking something, I'm smoking something. I don't know, but yeah, no, I think you're. No, I think you're completely right. I don't know. I don't really know how you fix this. I don't know why they weigh takedowns in certain fights more than other fights. Like, it should be a pretty clear-cut thing, but I get it's complicated, because like, how do you weigh a takedown? Like, if the guy takes him down, holds him down for 5 seconds, how do you weigh that for if the guy takes him down, holds him for 15 seconds? Like, is the extra
right.
10 seconds worth like 0.2 more of a point or something like that? So I think they just need to fix the criteria maybe and make it more, I don't know, straightforward, I guess.
Right. Tell us before the fight, a takedown is worth this amount of points. A knockdown is worth this amount of points. A heavy shot. I mean, the UFC, like, they have to do something here, because again, we had Covington versus Usman, which a lot of people argued could have well been a draw. Which again, there's a 4-1 scorecard that came up in that one. So again, from a unanimous fan, you see that as domination. You had Ngannou holding down, Gane in the last one, landing no damage. I mean, gosh, they got to do something here, because this is something that we're just supposed to accept, like accept and move on. We got a fight night next weekend. Let's talk about that. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, it's a problem. They have to fix it because they're going to start losing fans.
Yeah. Like maybe not the casual fan, but yeah, real hardcore fighting fans there. I'm sure they're just like us. They're getting annoyed that these things keep happening, especially if you're betting money on it too. Like if you're betting $1,000 and you're like, okay, he's for sure gonna win 100%, and then he gets robbed. Like, man,
Yeah,
it's pretty brutal.
it is pretty brutal. Again, I mean, all that we can hope for at this point is finishes, because basically what I've seen, and look, I am an Israel Adesanya fan, but from an unbiased perspective, if you stand with Adesanya and you don't knock him out, you're losing the fight.
Yeah,
That's my thought process now going forward with every single style bender fight until the end of time.
it reminds me. It's very reminiscent of John Jones. There was some very close fights. Like
Yeah,
you could have went it either way. Like Dominic Reyes fight is obviously a prime example. Like
that's the prime example.
I
Yeah.
still think John Jones won that fight. That was like a razor thin. Probably should have just made it a draw, but it just seems like all of those close fights for John Jones, the Gustafson fight, all just went John Jones' way, and I don't know. It just seems like that's a GSP was a little similar in his later fights. So I don't know. Yeah, they just seem to weigh things more towards the champions, which I don't necessarily agree with.
But wouldn't you say that like GSP and Jones, like, they still went out and took it, like even if you watch that, like Jones versus Gustafson, I mean, he showed out in those last few rounds and he showed
Yeah,
unbelievable cardio. He landed the big spinning elbow in the 5th round. Like, and with GSP, you're mentioning GSP earlier. For me, and again, I'd love to get your opinion on this again. It was more of GSP's inability to have that finishing instinct,
yeah,
like to finish the fight. But it was, take the Hendricks one out of it. It was very rare that I left a GSP fight thinking that he hadn't done enough to win, because he would usually dominate him with the wrestling. He would hold them down. Like he would smother them.
yeah.
I mean, what do you disagree, or do you?
Um, yeah. Some of the later GSP fights, they were maybe GSP isn't the best example. Maybe John Jones is more of a better example.
Probably a better
But
example, yeah, because of the Reyes one and the Silva one before
Silva
that.
and Santos, I think was a
Sorry,
pretty
that's the one I was thinking of. Thiago
yeah,
Santos, yeah.
yeah, those ones. But like if you like say in a fight like that, if John Jones fights someone and the guy loses or the other guy wins rounds 1, 2, and 3, and then John Jones puts it on at 4 and 5, I don't think he should win just because he won
No,
two more dominant rounds. Like if you win 3 rounds, you should win the fight.
exactly. No, you know what? Yeah, you're absolutely. I stand corrected, and you're absolutely right. Like each fight should be weighted the same.
Unless
You
you get
know,
like the last 2 rounds are like 10-8 rounds, which probably doesn't happen very often that you get like 2 end rounds that are 10-8s, and then the first 3 rounds are 10-9s or something like that. Then maybe if they're just super dominant in the last 2 rounds, then possibly, but you don't see that very often.
no, you're absolutely right. But anyways, I mean, this is a problem that I really hope the UFC can address going forward. But regardless, still a good fight. Adesanya again defends his crown. Not too sure who else can really challenge him at middleweight. I mean, the word on the street is Cannonier is next, and that's well deserved. But what do you think is next for Robert Whittaker? Back-to-back losses, clearly a cut above the rest of the middleweight contenders. I mean, what do you think they do with this guy next, Kyle?
I'm just gonna bring up the rankings real quick and take a quick little gander. So they jumped Cannonier up. Cannonier's number 2. Whittaker is still number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, has he fought Vittori yet? I guess you could give him like a Vittori. Vittori's
Yeah.
kind of coming up there.
Well, or Brunson, I guess, right? One of those two.
Yeah, if there's no one else to fight, you can give him Brunson. That gives Brunson at least one more shot at potentially getting an entire title picture. Or you give him Sean Strickland, and if Sean Strickland can get past Whitaker, then you know he's legit, right?
Ooh, I like that pick, Kyle. Should we stamp a little great Canadian pick on that bad boy? Because I haven't seen that one actually going around the masses.
Yeah, I don't think you like that would be definitely Sean Strickland's coming out party, and if Whitaker can stop him in his tracks, then I could definitely see them doing Whitaker versus Adesanya 3 potentially, like down the road if he can really again get another couple wins together under his belt that are dominant wins. I don't see why they don't do the third fight.
No, as do I. I mean, it's very similar to the Volkanovski Holloway trilogy. You know, it's a second fight that could have gone either way, should have gone Whitaker's way. So yeah, a couple more wins for Whitaker. Maybe he beats Vettori, maybe he beats Strickland, and he's right back in the title picture. There's nothing you can't deny it.
It reminds me more a little bit of Covington and Usman.
Okay,
Finished in the first fight, and then came back and had a pretty good outing in the second fight, close-ish fight.
Yeah, and another razor thin 4-1 decision.
Yeah, and then you give him Kobe a few more fights, and he's right back in there if he wants to fight him for a third time.
Excellent, I like it. Okay, well, those are some good picks for the next fight for Robert Whitaker. How about Israel Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier? And again, we're going to get into the next fight, but what are your kind of quick early thoughts on that particular matchup?
Yeah, I think that's the fight to make, really. If he wants to keep fighting and kind of clear out the division, like you have Cannonier, then if Strickland can again pull together one more win, then maybe give him Strickland. But after that, I don't really know what you do. Like there's not too many guys, unless someone comes up and really tears into like the top 10 somehow. But I don't see anyone right now doing that. I'm just looking at the bottom 10. Yeah, there's not really anyone. Like unless Darren Till can put together a couple wins, maybe, but it's maybe far-fetched.
No, I totally agree. I like those picks anyways. So excited to see what the UFC has next in store for these two amazing fighters again, which unfortunately are a cut above. You know, you have to think that if Adesanya was just a little bit heavier and was a light heavyweight, that this would be Robert Whitaker's division. I mean, he's a great fighter, and it's just unlucky to be fighting in the same era as this guy, unfortunately, because he just does seem to be like the rock to his scissors. So excited to see what they do next with these guys. Let's move on to the co-main event of the evening. The big boys duking it out. Tai Tuivasa versus Derek Lewis with the underdog. Plus 150. Tai Tuivasa finishing Derek Lewis via second round knockout. This was a great fight. I mean, this really lived up to the hype. These guys came out and they stood and they banged right in the middle. At the end, it was a big elbow that appeared to be the decider. I mean, man, Kyle Allen again, 0 for 2. I'm gonna let you have the first dibs because I'm a gentleman. But what do you think? I mean, what was it more? Was it more luck landing the right shot? I mean, what was your reaction to this fight?
I think Tai Tuivasa has come a long way, and he's made some pretty big adjustments. He's always had a good chin. Like you don't see him getting knocked out too often. Same with Derek Lewis, but he was able to just get the better of the exchanges near the end. He got rocked though, I think, right before he kind of took Derek Lewis out. Like he was definitely rocked, and but he was able to stay in there, keep his composure, and then that elbow he landed on was nasty though. It took him out, and he's a contender for sure in this heavyweight division, and he's exciting.
I'd say a fight away. Wouldn't you say? Maybe.
What's that?
Fight away from the title, Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah, like you'd have to give him probably one more like top contender. And he's right. He's right there. Unfortunately, the top of the heavyweight division is just so tied up right now that maybe you can give him a Suravan or something like that.
That would be amazing. Yeah. But Tai Tuivasa, again, my boy, I picked him. I knew he'd pull the upset. Folks, if you want to make a dime, give your boy Alex a piece of your time. Let's go. Going forward, listen to me.
He's down
5 for 5.
He's down 3-1. Let's remember that.
Yeah, but when I win, it's sexy, man. 5 for 5, just unblemished, like the Mona Lisa, the perfect night. So anybody who listened to the Great Canadian Fight Show made a nickel off of me last weekend, that's for sure. But yeah, Tai Tuivasa again. I mean, not much to say in this fight. Like you said, he has a great chin on him. I mean, this guy's been on a good roll, man. I mean, let's look into his last record. I mean, again, he lost to Sergey Spivak again via submission. That was back in October of 2019. But since then, he's been able to piece together 5 fights in a row, including wins against Stefan Struve, Greg Hardy, Augusto Sakai, and now Derek Lewis. I mean, this guy's getting hot at the right time. He's 28 years old. He chugs beers. I mean, man, how can you not like this guy?
Yeah, he's definitely got all the makings to be a superstar for sure. Because he's funny. He's got the shoey, like the celebration. Like if he somehow made it up there and won the belt, and then, man, what an epic celebration you would have after that.
Oh my God, no kidding. So say his next fight is booked against Cyril Gane, because that seems to be kind of the next logical matchup for him. Put Cyril Gane again, gives Cyril Gane the top, an opportunity to derail the top contender, and then again gives Tuivasa kind of the last bit of cementation before he nails himself that heavyweight title. How do you see that fight playing out?
I assume he would be the underdog compared to Cyril Gane.
Yep.
The way he moves and stuff like that. But again, if he can kind of put the same game plan together like Francis did, maybe take him down, or just do what he did to Lewis, kind of get him against the cage, dirty box him, land some of those big elbows. Like he definitely could win. I would just assume he's the underdog in that fight, but he definitely has ways he could beat Cyril Gane.
Yeah, no, absolutely he does. I guess we'd have to see mentally like what that loss to Ngannou did to Cyril Gane. I mean, I really felt that he felt like he had it in the bag, especially with the rumors going around with Ngannou's knee injury and him not being able to throw the big bomb as efficiently. So excited to see kind of how that plays out. But let's pull up the heavyweight rankings and discuss next potential matchups for the Black Beast. Because, I personally, for me, you don't really get penalized for a fight like this. I mean, again, it was a great fight. He came out, he put on a show for the fans. He didn't try and play it safe. That's just not in his books. But I see here that he's now down to number 5, down 2 spots. Derek Lewis, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you see as a next potential matchup for him to perhaps get him right back in the picture? Or,
I mean, you could do him versus maybe like he's already beat Volkov, but you can give him like Rosenstruck. I don't think he's fought Rosenstruck.
mm-hmm.
So that's 5 or 7. I think that's a good matchup, and it gives Rosenstruck a chance to climb the rankings a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then I also like Tai Tuivasa versus Curtis Blades. That'd be a good fight too.
How about Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blades?
And do a rematch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was a flash knockout in the first round. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the rematch. I'm sure Curtis Blades wants that fight back.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the one where he hit him with the uppercut and just kind of had him stiff as a board. Ouch, man. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want that fight again.
Yeah, for his brain cells. I mean, gosh. All right. Well, congratulations again to Tai Tuivasa. Puts himself firmly into the title picture here, and in the prime of his career, really giving it a go. So we love to see it. He's an entertaining personality, and we look forward to seeing him back in the octagon, hopefully sooner than later. We move on to the third fight on the UFC 271 fight card. Middleweight bout between 2 top contenders, Jared Cannonier versus Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson. And again, it's my guy, Jared Cannonier. French people might call him Cannonier. We're going to call him Cannonier on this show. He wins via second round KO late in round 2 after being in trouble in the first round. I mean, man, impressive performance. Again, maybe you aren't totally sold that he beat Stylebender, but at least he's got the power to put a top contender out. What did you think of this one, Kyle?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good fight. Derek Brunson, he looked good in the first round. He got him at the end in the rear naked choke. It looked, if he got it like 30 seconds earlier, like he could have potentially won that fight. But the second round, you saw he looks like he got a little bit tired, and Jared Cannonier was able to put it on him and then take him out with some vicious elbow ground and pound. And no, Cannonier looked good. I think he's definitely deserving of the title shot. I don't see anyone else in the title picture that really deserves it. So I think he's the next guy.
Oh, no kidding. I mean, Adesanya has just been holding out a carrot for this guy to bite for the past like 2 years, I feel, and he's just been missing it. But sure. Oh man, Derek Brunson though. I mean, I can't remember a last fight where I've seen this guy where he didn't gas out, and that's my kind of frustration with Derek Brunson. I mean, he's become very one-dimensional, even with this kind of blonde Brunson allure, you know, where he's become the next great mythical figure in UFC. But gosh, I mean, what do you think this guy has to do different, Kyle? I mean, he seems a little bit, dare I say, one-dimensional.
Yeah, he leans on his wrestling quite a bit, and don't get me wrong, he is a good wrestler. Like his last like 3 wins were like pretty solid. So it's hard to not lean on that if you're so dominant with it. But I think his striking needs to improve, and obviously as gas tank, he seems like he gets tired pretty quickly, and that ends up being his demise most of the fights, it seems like.
No, couldn't agree more. I mean, but can't take anything away from him. He did have it right there within his grasp at the end of the first round with a beautiful rear naked choke after toughly working his way to back control. I mean, but still, you want to see more from a top contender than that. It seems like Cannonier was just like, oh, that's it, you're out. All right. And just turned it on right then and there. Like he had a few more notches that he could have reached. Sure. But okay, so we assume that Cannonier is next for a title shot. He called for it at the end of the fight. We assume he's going to get it. What does the UFC do with Derek Brunson after this, in your opinion, Kyle? Or do you foresee maybe a change in division?
Like I don't know where he can go. I don't know. He might be a little bit too small for light heavyweight and too big for welterweight.
Tough.
What could you do with Derek Brunson? I'm just trying to find the rankings here. I mean, like him versus like Darren Till would be a good fight. Get Darren Till, like at least if Darren Till gets a win over Brunson, then it puts him a little bit higher up in the rankings. And it looks like Derek Brunson, he said it might be his last fight. Like it doesn't seem like he wants too many more fights. So yeah, I think him versus Darren Till would be a good fight.
I mean, I personally don't want to see that fight again.
Oh, did they already fight? Oh, they did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that first fight was boring as shit too.
Oh yeah, he beat Darren Till, right?
It was one of those like smothering wrestling dominant performances.
No, I totally forgot.
Unfortunately, Darren Till coming in looking quite out of shape.
Yeah, I remember now. Or you can give him a Jack, maybe like Jack Hermanson. He's coming off a loss. Both coming off a loss.
Yeah, it's a good wrestling one. You know, I mean,
yeah, they're both
having a tough time sleeping one night. You can put that on, and maybe it'll good thing to help you doze off. You know.
Sometimes you need help falling asleep, right? Can't just take melatonin all the time. You know, you gotta throw on some of these super entertaining fights.
Yeah, true. I mean, look, we have been spoiled, I guess, before the past few weekends of fights, especially the first few weekends here. Of 2022. So the fact that this one was a little bit of a slower pace, I mean, hey, we can't have bangers every weekend, right, Kyle? So
one could hope.
One could hope, but still unlikely. So again, congratulations to Jared Cannonier. Wins via KO, exactly how I called it. I mean, I was on fire this weekend, folks. Again, it's very reminiscent of Michael Jordan with the flu. You know, is how I was last podcast picking my picks. You know, I mean, sometimes you just can't explain this stuff. You know,
We'll see. a couple months, so we'll see what the score is.
We will see. We will see. But we move on here on this fight card to a lightweight bout, which was kind of thrown in at the last second. For some reason, I guess the UFC thought this one would be more competitive than Kyler Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo, which we had made picks on. We didn't make picks on Alexander Hernandez and Renato Moicano, but this ended up being an okay fight. I mean, I definitely felt Renato was the more threatening fighter for most of this fight. But what were your thoughts on Moicano and his performance on Saturday night?
Yeah, Moicano, he looked really good in this fight. I feel Hernandez just couldn't really get anything going. And then, towards the end there, he got caught and couldn't really do anything else. I always root for Alex Hernandez. Like, he seems like a good up and comer, but he just keeps running into these fights where he just has problems and can't figure it out. But Moicano I feel like he's a contender in the lightweight division. He was fighting at 145, wasn't he, at one point? If I'm
He
correct.
was, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
He
so it
was,
looks like
yeah.
he's moved up a division. And he looks big. He looked much bigger than Hernandez. So interesting move up, and I think it's going to better his career. Maybe he's cutting less weight. Might be a more natural division. Very reminiscent of Oliveira.
Yes, absolutely agree. Hernandez, I mean, I always can't help but remember his fight with Cowboy Cerrone and all the shit he was talking in the pre-fight, and Cowboy just kind of sitting there like pissed off because he's cutting weight and just kind of taking it.
Yeah.
But this guy, I mean, he's becoming an all-time can crusher in the UFC. I mean, line up the cans, line up the plugs. I mean, this guy just takes them down. But every time he gets in a fight where he gets some sort of adversity, like, he just seems to crumble. So
Yeah.
I hope that he can kind of make some changes in his game because the potential's there. But gosh, you're right. I mean, he gets put in these situations and it's just like hitting a wall every time. Too bad for Alex Hernandez.
Yeah.
But let's go back to Renato Moicano as we try and discuss next potential matchups for him. You're absolutely right, Kyle. He was in the UFC featherweight division before he ran into Jose Aldo and the Korean Zombie. Those were his last two fights in featherweight in June of 2019 before he made the switch over to lightweight. And in 4 fights, his only loss comes to Rafael Fiziev, who's looked great lately. So that hasn't aged too poorly. What are some thoughts on Renato Moicano? Do you think they give him a ranked opponent right away, or do you think maybe one more fight for the right to be ranked? What are your kind of first guesses there?
Yeah, I think you'd give him a ranked opponent. Like, you can give him someone in the like 15 to 10 range, like just throwing a name out there, like a Brad Riddell, I think would be a good fight. He's like at 14, or even Diego Ferreira. That's a good fight too. Any of those guys in the bottom, like 12 to 15 range.
What do you think about? And again, we're going to get into his fight next. But what do you think of him potentially versus Bobby Green for the right to end up in the 13 to 15 range, perhaps?
I like that fight too. Yeah, Bobby Green. We'll get into it, but yeah, Bobby Green looked really good. Moicano looked really good. I think that's a good matchup. I like it.
I think so too. Yeah. So congratulations again to Renato Moicano. Looked great on Saturday night with the win via submission. So we look forward to seeing him in the octagon next. And now the last fight on the UFC 271 card, lightweight bout with Bobby Green, who we saw recently against the aforementioned Rafael Fiziev, going up against Nasrat Haqparast. Oh man, Haqparast? Did that sound right to you, Kyle?
I don't know if the Q's silent, but sounds good. Sounds good.
We'll go with you're right, actually. Haqparast. Nasrat Haqparast, doesn't matter. Bobby Green with a very, very strong performance, wins via unanimous decision. I mean, this guy's looking good. He's looking like he's really developing as a fighter. I mean, are you ambitious with Bobby Green going forward? And do you think he has the potential to be a lightweight contender?
If he fights the way he fought on Saturday night, I think he definitely does. some fighters they just bloom later in their career, and it seems like Bobby Green is kind of being that fighter. AKA, I know I like to talk about the oldies, but
Mm.
like Glover, there's some of these fighters that can do it. They can flourish later in their career, and I think Bobby Green is doing just exactly that.
Yeah, you're right. He's 35. I didn't realize he was kind of on the. But I mean, again, he could be in his physical prime, right?
It's true.
But let me ask you this: does he kind of remind you of anyone? Is there anyone that you can kind of compare Bobby Green to, maybe in the top 5 or top 10 of the lightweight division?
Is this a test? Are you giving me a test right now?
No, just
Uh,
conversation. I want to just kind of keep an eye out for some future matchups, maybe that we can look out for.
uh, anyone similar in the top? No one that I can really think of. Like his striking was very, in my opinion, it was very like Conor McGregor-ish, like low hands, kind of jumping in with the jab, getting in and out. Like it was very, maybe not quite the karate stance like Conor does, but very similar striking in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, for me, one of the names that stood out, and again, maybe he still has a ways away before he gets there, but I thought he was really reminiscent of again, like Michael Chandler, these guys that are coming in, explosive fighters, big power shot guys. Even Rafael Dos Anjos. I mean, sky's the limit for this guy. I mean, if he can kind of piece together a few wins here, he could definitely be firmly in the top 10.
Yeah, I think so. I agree.
Excellent. Well, that puts a bow on UFC 271. Again, it was a great fight card. We're now going to get into our Great Canadian Performances Awards. So, starting with the Great Canadian Fight of the Night. Kyle, I'm going to let you have the first word on this one, and then we're going to do Great Canadian Performance of the Night to follow that up.
My fight of the night. It's hard not to give it to the main event, just because it was very back and forth. So I'm probably going to choose the main event as the fight of the night because it was the most back and forth fight of the card. I feel. Um, my second pick would maybe like Bobby Green versus Nazareth. That was, I know it wasn't quite as close, but I thought it was a solid fight. I thought they both did quite a bit, and it went to a decision. So, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Adesanya versus Whitaker.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the it's kind of the safe one, right? I mean, it was the most competitive one. I mean, again, don't let the judges' scorecard fool you. This was a razor thin decision. I could have even seen it go as a draw potentially. So I do tend to lean towards that one. But you know what? I mean, I might not. It might not be the length of the fight, but I'm going to go with the heavyweights. I think if you turned on the card and that's the first fight you watched, I mean, you were satisfied and you were entertained. I mean, these guys, it's rare that fighters these days go out and do exactly what they say they're going to do in the presser. I mean, besides Chandler and Gaethje, a lot of times they go in, they say they're gonna kick each other's ass. It's going to be a 5-round war, and they're going to be lucky to be standing at the end of this, and then you end up getting Adesanya versus Whitaker too. So I'm going to give it to Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis. They went out and they put on a great show. I just hope that Derek Lewis's injuries are not too drastic and that he's able to come back and fight at least within the 6-month minimum that the UFC gives fighters to recover from knockouts. So let's move on now to the Great Canadian Performance of the Night. My Great Canadian Performance of the Night, I'm going to give it to Jared Cannonier. Again, I felt, again, don't want to seem like a broken record, but it's rare that somebody goes out and does what they say they're going to do, or even what they're expected to do. People were expecting Brunson to wrestle the shit out of him, and they were expecting Cannonier to win by knockout, and he did that. So he's my Great Canadian Performer of the Night.
I'm going to go with Bobby Green on this one. I think Bobby Green opening the card. I watched it with a friend that's not really too into the UFC, and even he was really impressed. He thought this guy was like a number one guy in the UFC, the way he was fighting, and that's the way he fought. He fought like a number one guy. He picked apart Nazareth the whole fight, like breaking through his jab, through his guard, and he just picked him apart the whole fight. And he looked super confident, like nothing could beat him. And yeah, he looked really good. I think Bobby Green's gonna be one to watch for the next little while and see how he does. But he's my he's my fighter of the night for sure.
Absolutely. Great pick, Kyle. We really look forward to seeing Bobby Green back out there again, hopefully really soon. I liked how quick he booked himself after the last fight against Fiziev. So fingers crossed we see him in the octagon again very, very quickly. Our last one of the night, again, we like to give a shout out to the rising stars, people that, again, maybe are a little bit not as known, that we believe our viewers should keep an eye on for the next fight. So I'm going to let you take this one, Kyle. You can include a fight from the prelims if you'd like, or you can stick to the main. Who was your great Canadian rising star of the night?
In this one, I'm going to go to the prelims, and I'm going to go with our original pick, Kyler Phillips. I feel like he looked really good against Rojo. He looked, again, super confident. His striking was on point. And yeah, he took him apart and submitted him in the third round with a I think it was like an armbar triangle kind of. It's like partially a triangle and then kind of went into an armbar. And yeah, he looked really good. So definitely he's gonna be one to watch for in the bantamweight, the already super stacked bantamweight division.
Couldn't agree more. That's a great pick, Kyle. Shout out to Kyler Phillips. Again, a last minute demotion from the main card to the prelims for absolutely no reason at all. But he still shows out. And you're right. He looked fantastic on Saturday night. So shout out to Kyler Phillips, and shout out to Kyle for reaching deep into his back pocket for that prelim pick, making us aware that if you watch the prelims, you can still be surprised with some fantastic fights. So again, UFC 271 is now in the books, and we are excited for the next one, which is next weekend. We have a fight night next weekend, Kyle, and we're going to get right into our picks. So UFC Fight Night, which recently changed, it was, I believe they changed the main events for this one.
Yeah.
The original fight is evading me.
It was Fiziev and Dos Anjos. They moved that.
That's
fight.
right. The Battle of the Raphaels.
Yeah.
So they give the co-main event the top spot. So we got Johnny Walker and we got Jamal Hill in a light heavyweight bout, a battle to crack the top 10. Again, not a huge sell here, guys. But again, I do want to remind you that the Golden Glove winner for Fight of the Year last year was a Fight Night main event. I'm not going to say who it was because, again, it's apples to oranges comparing those fighters to these ones, but doesn't mean you should skip this one. So we're going to get right into it. Again, starting from the bottom. Kyle, do you have this card loaded up on your end?
I do. You want to start from the top or the bottom?
Let's start from the bottom since we're just making our quick picks for this one. So first, middleweight bout. We've got the returning Joaquin Buckley versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan. For those of you that remember, Joaquin Buckley had the knockout of 2020 on Fight Island with that spinning kick, which ended up sending his opponent's soul to the mirror dimension. So he's returning. He's a favorite again against Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Kyle, what are your picks for this one?
I haven't watched too much of Abdul's fights, so I'm curious to see. I should maybe watch a few of his fights and see how he is, but I really like Joaquin Buckley. I think he has a little bit of some star qualities in him, especially with that spinning, flying, catching spin kick, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to pick Joaquin Buckley. I think he's a exciting fighter coming up, and I want to see him win more. So I'm going to pick him based off that.
Yeah, listen, I'd love to challenge you on this one, but I do see Joaquin Buckley winning this fight. I mean, he was a hot fighter in 2020. Ran into a hotter at the time, Kevin Holland. And I do think he has a good couple runs left in him. So I'm going to go with Joaquin Buckley to win this fight as well. So we both take that one. Let's move on to another lightweight bout. Jim Miller, the ageless one, coming back against Nicholas Mota. Again, Mota is a slight Vegas favorite at 180. Kyle Allen, who you got?
I'm gonna go with. It's hard for me to go against Jim Miller because I've seen so many fights of his coming up as a UFC fan. So I'm gonna go with Jim Miller on this one. I think the veteran gets it done.
I like it.
Yeah, I feel confident with that pick.
That's great because I am firmly in with the favorite. I'm going to go with Thiago Motta to beat him. Seems to be a trend these days of the old guys getting beat up. So I'm going with the young guy. I'm going with Nicholas Motta to win this fight. And I'm going to go out and say it. Second round TKO.
All right.
I'm hot right now, folks. Listen to what I have to say. I feel like a prophet here right now. See how I go with these picks here for next weekend. So we move on to the third fight on the card, heavyweight bout. Parker Porter. Say that 10 times fast. Going against Alan Boudreaux. Again, in a heavyweight matchup. Parker with a heavy favorite at minus 250. I'm going to go with the favorite. Super lame. Don't know much about Alan Boudreaux. Parker Porter has shown promise in his last few fights, so I'm going to go with Parker Porter to win this one. And I am going to say first round knockout for this one.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on this one. I want to, but I'm going to pick smarter this week, and I'm going to go with the favorite too. I'm going to go with Parker Porter. I think he gets it done, and I think he gets it done by TKO.
Excellent. Care to pick a round?
I'll say round 2.
Round dos. All right. Okay. Next, we have Kyle Daukaus, the returning Kyle Daukaus, versus Jamie Pickett. Looks like this one is occurring at a catchweight, Kyle. So it's not heavyweights. Maybe these guys are they not heavyweights? Didn't we not see Kyle Daukaus?
I think Kyle Daukaus is middleweight. I think maybe this other guy looks like he's more of a light heavyweight. So it might be like we're somewhere around like 190 pounds or something like that, maybe.
We not see a Daukaus. Wasn't that not Eric Lewis's last fight?
No, that was his brother. His brother Chris Daukaus.
Whoa.
Kyle Daukaus.
You know, that's crazy because I'm looking at his picture on the fight night card, and I'm like, holy smokes, he looks like a pencil neck. Like I remember him being like quite a bit bigger than that, but that totally makes sense. So thank you for being the one of the 2 co-hosts that did the homework this time around, and I'm terribly sorry, Kyle, that I got you confused with your brother. So, all right. Well, we got Kyle Daukaus, and we have once again Jamie Pickett. Kyle, you have first pick for this one.
Hard to go against my boy, so I'm going to go with Kyle Daukaus. I think his fight against, I think his last fight was against, what's his face? Trailblazer. What's his name?
Kevin Holland.
Kevin Holland, yeah. His last fight was the Kevin Holland where he headbutt flash KO'd him and then took him out. But before that happened, he looked good against him. So I'm going to go with Kyle Daukaus.
Excellent. Okay, and I'm going to go with Jamie Pickett. Again, I do think he wins. He has the power advantage over Daukaus. So I say Jamie Pickett does it via, you know what? I'm going to keep it short again. First round knockout, baby. Come on. What you going to do, brother? When Jamie Pickett comes raining down on Kevin Daukaus, his younger brother.
He kind of looks like Booker T. 5 times.
Yeah, 5 times. 5 times. I love it. All right, I got Pickett. You got Daukaus. Let's go to the main. Jamal Hill versus Johnny Walker in a light heavyweight matchup. Number 12 versus number 10, with surprisingly number 12 coming in as the heavy favorite, minus 250. You can make a buck off Johnny Walker this weekend, Kyle. Holy smokes. I mean, geez, who you got in this fight?
Yeah, this one's a hard one. I'm very on the fence with this one, but I'm going to go with his last performance, and I feel like Jamal Hill looked really good in his last performance. So I'm going to go with Jamal Hill on this one, but it's a close fight for me.
He did look really good in his last performance. Tremendous performance against Jimmy Crute. His only loss in mixed martial arts is against Paul Craig. That was in summer of last year. Otherwise, he's got wins against Ovid, St. Preux, which has aged nicely. So that does look good. But you know what? I'm going to go with Johnny Walker. I think he gets this one done. I still think there's potential in him. I still think he's growing as a fighter. I mean, man, when this guy first came out, he looked like a world beater, Kyle. A couple losses, and people are getting ready to write this guy off. I mean, he's 2 spots higher ranked than Jamal Hill, and he's a huge underdog. So, folks, you want to make a dime this weekend? Bet on Johnny Walker. I mean, again, I do think he's going to deliver in this one, and I think he's going to show us a little bit of a taste of the old Johnny Walker here. So, the black label, not the cheap one. Is the blue label? Oh man, I'm all over the place here. The blue label is the most expensive one, right?
I think so.
I believe the green one is the cheap one. Yeah. So hopefully we see the blue label Johnny Walker this weekend and not the green label Johnny Walker this weekend. So I'm going to go with Johnny Walker to win. I do have a gut feeling that it's going to be a decision for this one.
Yeah, could be right. I'm going to go with Jamal Hill by. I'm going to go with Jamal Hill by TKO in round 3.
TKO in round 3. Okay, Kyle Allen really hoping to redeem himself after a very unforeseen subpar showing last weekend.
Okay,
so,
I'm still up by how many?
I know.
What's that? 3-1.
Yeah, the jabs are just coming in, but I mean, hey, I'm still getting smoked, guys. I'm just let me have my cake and eat it too for this past weekend. All right, Kyle, come on. So, ladies and gentlemen, that puts another bow on our episode. Again, episode 13 is in the books. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you like the content and you want to see more, like and subscribe. Again, we're a growing podcast, and we appreciate all the support that we've gotten so far. And things are only going to get better from here on the Great Canadian Fight Show. Kyle Allen, the floor is yours for the last word, my friend.
No, I'll just go off what you said, and like and subscribe. We're putting out videos every week, trying to give you good information. We really look into these fights and try to study and show a lot of interest in these fights, so we can kind of give you a good pick. And if you decide to bet on fights, maybe you can make some money off us. But that's what we're here for.
Excellent. Thank you very much, guys, and have a great night. As usual, Kyle, it's been a pleasure talking fights with you. Arrivederci.
Take it easy.